Hello everyone, welcome to this podcast session at Webkul. Myself Manika Vats, a business developer at Webkul, and I'm excited to introduce our wonderful guest, Henry Arrowood from Farmshare. So let's understand first what exactly is Farmshare, what is business. Farmshare is a marketplace connecting consumers directly with food producers. They provide independent food producers and tools platform to sell online. They digitize the farmer market, bringing convenience and transparency and economics to buying better foods. So let's get started with this podcast session and meet Henry. Okay, hello Henry, how are you?
Hey Monica, I'm doing well, thank you.
That's great. Thank you for coming for this podcast session today. And it's my pleasure to have you on board. Can you please elaborate and introduce yourself to our audience, how you start your business, how you start Farmshare?
Sure, happy to. So I'm Henry Arrowood. I am the founder and CEO of Farmshare. We are an online farmers market connecting consumers directly with producers. My background is in fintech and e-commerce, and I started Farmshare with the realization that there was an opportunity to connect all of these disparate independent food producers from around the U.S. and connect them directly with consumers through e-commerce. My background, like I said, was in e-commerce, so I had a lot of exposure into what were the elements of successful e-commerce business and how they were affecting so many other industries in the U.S. But a lot of the food producers in the country felt extremely sidelined, right? They didn't have the tools to successfully integrate and partake in the online economy. And so I really saw an opportunity with Farmshare to create a set of services to help them easily plug and play in the online economy. So that's what we're doing. It's been a really fun journey, and we're really excited about where we are and where we're going.
Wow, that's great, Henry. I want to know about your mission and your goal for the Farmshare. Can you please elaborate your mission, what your goal set up for this thing,
Happy to, yeah. So as I mentioned, Farmshare is an online farmers market, really cutting out a lot of the intermediaries that traditionally exist in the food supply chain today. Traditionally in the U.S., food is produced, then it goes to a distributor, a wholesaler, a retailer, a service, then to a consumer. And there's a lot of, middlemen in between me as a consumer and a farmer producing my food. And we had the idea that we could disintermediate that flow by, taking e-commerce and plugging it in to provide a gateway for the consumers to connect directly with the producers. And really our mission here was across a few things. First thing was transparency. A lot of the food in the U.S. Doesn't really have any traceability to it. You buy something at the grocery store, and you don't really have a clear sense of what the source of that product is. So we wanted to provide a platform where we had a lot of traceability and transparency into where food was coming from. Our tagline is "Shake the hand that feeds you," and it's really to evoke this idea that we want customers to be able to feel a relationship and a connection with the person producing their food. The second element of our mission is around equity. The issue in the U.S. food supply chain today is that out of every dollar that a U.S. consumer spends at the grocery store, only 14 cents is making its way back into the pocket of the farmer. It's a very, very small portion of food expenditure that's actually getting back to the farmer. And so with Farmshare, we're sort of reinventing the equity of food economics, and we're making a much fairer food economy. The third element is our health. Everybody on Farmshare, all of our producers that we can select, they're using all natural and organic, regenerative, sustainable ways of producing their food. No additives, no harmful antibiotics or hormones, no synthetic pesticides on any of the produce that they're growing. So we really had this vision of how Farmshare could support healthy foods for our customers. And then the last is around the planet, right? Everybody on our platform, all of the producers are safeguarding the health of the planet through regenerative and sustainable practices. And really through this mission, our goal is we want to transform the way that food is sold and distributed in this country by connecting you, the consumer, directly with small, independent food producers.
Oh, that's great, Henry. I like the tagline, by the way.
Thank you.
Can you please explain, share some opinions about your industry, in which industries you're working right now? Some opinions
Sure.
for those, the current marketing strategies to elevate your business. So some kind of opinions for your customers.
Happy to. I think that there's really two industries that we keep a close eye on.
Yeah.
The first is agriculture and the second is e-commerce. And we sort of play at the intersection of both of those.
Definitely.
A few thoughts on agriculture. As I mentioned, like today in the US, we operate on this very antiquated hub and spoke model, right? Food is produced by a farmer, then it goes to a distributor, a wholesaler, retail service, a retailer, and then a consumer buys it. And the food, like I mentioned, the distribution is hub and spoke, right? It comes into these central distribution centers, and then it goes out, and then it's reconcentrated, and then it's dispersed out. And what's ultimately happening here is we have this huge feedback lag. The data from what's happening in consumption in the market versus what producers are producing, it's a very long and bifurcated feedback loop. And so it's led to this huge disconnect between producers and consumers. And that's one of the issues that we're really trying to address is how do we shorten that feedback loop and provide more immediate communication between the producers and the consumers. On the e-com side of things, we're seeing a huge, revolution in online grocery and e-commerce more broadly. This, of course, was accentuated during the pandemic, right? What was once a very, very small market of online grocery, which comprised just 2% of all grocery sales in the U.S. before the pandemic, was blown up to now in 2023, almost 17% of all grocery sales are taking place online. And the issue is with this huge wave of e-commerce that's washed over this country, it's given customers so much agency to buy nearly everything that they want from anywhere, right? We can go on Amazon, we can go on any other e-commerce platform and buy almost anything at the touch of a button at any time of day. But what we don't have today is access to better food, right? Straight from the farm. And so that's what really we're trying to address is we want to take the convenience that the modern U.S. consumer has come to expect and apply it to buying better food straight from the source.
That's great. I really like the idea of Farmshare, the concept you carry on, Okay, I want to know how do you get motivated for, to start the Farmshare business? How do you get is someone involved in this partnership, like that? How do you get motivated for this business?
Yeah, I'm happy to give you a little bit of the founding story here. Yeah. So, as you mentioned, my background is in fintech and e-commerce, and during the pandemic, I actually was at the beginning of the pandemic. I was living in San Francisco, and when the pandemic started, I had the opportunity, like many Americans working in tech jobs, to go fully remote. And so I left San Francisco, I put all of my stuff in storage, and my girlfriend, my dog, and I, we got in our car and we just started vagabonding around the U.S. And we were just staying in Airbnbs. And one of the places that we spent a lot of time was Montana. And for those who aren't familiar, Montana is a very, very rural, agrarian part of the country. It's the traditional American Wild West, right? With all the cowboys and the horses and the bulls, and that's the vibe.
Okay.
And I love it. I love spending time there. My girlfriend loves it, and we just decided that's the place we want to be, and we were working online, so it made sense. And while I was there, I met some really cool ranchers and cowboys, and I got to know a little bit about, their life and understand their story. And one rancher I met in particular, his family had been ranching for, I think, 7 generations, and he's now at a point where he's trying to figure out, well, what's the future look like for him?
Yeah.
Because in the U.S., so much of agriculture is being corporatized. All of the small independent family farms are being sold off to large industrial corporations. And so he's faced with this problem, right? Well, how do I continue on my family's legacy? How do I continue on this lifestyle and tradition? And I started to have lots of conversations with him. And I tried to think about, how could potentially e-commerce be a solution for him here? The financials for him aren't what they used to be, selling into the traditional supply chain. They're making less and less money because the people in the middle, all of the middlemen, are taking more and more profits and leaving less for the producers. So I thought, okay, well, so many other industries in the US have adopted this direct-to-consumer model. Why can't we apply that here to agriculture? And I started to look at the economics of it all, and it seemed very challenging to make it happen on like a individual basis. Just to stand up a specific e-commerce store for him was going to be quite challenging, and the economics might not work. Well, at the same time that I was having these conversations with my buddy Seth, I came across this company in China that was blowing up, Pinduoduo, and I read about them and I understood how they actually started in agriculture, and they were a marketplace that was connecting these rural agrarian producers with metropolitan customers. And I thought, wow, okay, maybe that's something that we can do similar in the US. So what I started to explore was, okay, is there enough people like Seth across all different lines of food production, not just, beef, but are there vegetable growers, are there fishermen, are there, ranchers who are all having this issue, and would they all want to, get onto a platform, a common marketplace where they could sell their product?
So Sam is your partner, right?
What do you say?
Sam is your partner. Sam is your partner, right? For your business?
He's actually not. His name's Seth, and he's actually not my partner. He's just the inspiration.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah. So anyways, I started to have conversations with more people like Seth, and what I came to understand is there was a lot of appetite from these producers to want to join on to a marketplace like this. Everybody was familiar with this concept of Etsy, right? This company Etsy became very big in the US. And so I figured, well, why don't we just make Etsy but for food? And that's what we did.
That was very inspiring, Henry. I really like the idea. Any advice to someone who is running like your business, who's running Farmshare like business? Any suggestions you want to give?
Sure. I think that
just a basic thing, just a basic criteria, what we have to follow. Someone if go to the agriculture business.
Yeah, I think that my guidance here is e-commerce has so much potential to revolutionize a lot of antiquated. Yeah, has a lot of potential to revolutionize antiquated industries, and there's been a lot of land grab on some of the more obvious ones, retail and apparel and all of these other these sectors, but I think that there's still a lot of opportunity out there to apply e-commerce to these antiquated business models, and it takes time because there's a lot of education that has to go on when you're trying to go in and disrupt a very old industry that's steeped in tradition. It takes a lot of education, time, and convincing to convince that the industry players that, hey, actually there's an opportunity for us to improve the way that we're doing things. And so for anybody, I think, that's trying to start something like this, I would say you have to have patience, and you have to be, very convincing and know your customer and your market very well to explain to them, what the potential is. And if you can successfully do that, I think that there's limitless opportunities to improve and disrupt current flows with more streamlined e-commerce processes.
That's great. Henry, I really want to know, what did you do for online business promotion, like online and offline? What are your strategies for the promotion for business?
Sure. I would say we haven't really done a tremendous amount yet in our marketing strategies. We're very new, by the way, right? We just have gone live with our site only a month and a half ago. So all of our sort of marketing to date has been actually like word of mouth, and we've actually discovered a successful marketing channel which we did not anticipate was actually the merchants being a huge customer acquisition strategy for us. What we discovered is these merchants that we're onboarding to our company, they were actually very willing to direct their existing customers to Farmshare to purchase their product because we provided value and operational ease in their fulfillment process. So it was very unexpected to us, but we started to get all of these customers from the merchants going out and telling their existing customers, hey, you can buy my product now on Farmshare. So that was one, happy coincidence we fell into, and we're really leaning into that now. But as we look to the future and we start to kick off some of our marketing initiatives, we're really thinking about the way in which content can be an asset to us now. I think that, I've had the experience, in e-commerce, and I think a lot of the traditional levers that e-commerce companies had at their disposal of social media marketing have sort of dried out. With the iOS updates and Apple's new privacy laws, it's really hard to successfully advertise Instagram and Facebook like we used to be able to. And so I think it's really important for a company like ours or any other e-commerce company to think about new and creative ways that we can try and get in front of customers, because setting up an Instagram ad or setting up a Facebook ad is not nearly as potent and successful as it used to be. And so our main strategy is actually around organic social and creating really unique content with our producers. We have this amazing asset at our disposal, which is these producers that we work with, right? And our customers, they want to feel connection with those producers. They want to feel a sense of community, like, oh, I'm on the farm. Oh, I understand, the lifestyle here, and I can understand, the benefit of me, buying this product versus buying something at the supermarket. And so our main marketing efforts are really around creating engaging and compelling content around our producers.
That's great, Henry. I really want to know, what are the challenges you faced, during establishing your business? What are the challenges you faced out?
Yeah, I think that the first thing, for starting from square one, was educating the market, and I mentioned that before, right? Like, we're trying to do something completely new in a market which doesn't have a lot of exposure to e-commerce. So there was a lot of educating which had to be done, and we really had to understand what the pain points were for the customer set that we were serving to create a compelling pitch to go to market with. So that was the first thing.
Okay.
The second thing that was very challenging was figuring out our logistics solution, right? We're dealing with perishable products. We're trying to ship frozen and or fresh products directly from a farm, a fisherman, a ranch to a customer. So we have to find fast, reliable, but also, economic solutions to get that product directly from the producer to the consumer. And so a big challenge for us at the beginning was figuring out, okay, well, what's going to be the cold chain logistics solution to help, facilitate our business model. And we spent a lot of time working with many different logistics providers in the US to understand how we could get products quickly
Yeah.
from a very remote part of the country to New York City. And that was a big challenge, and I'm very happy that we were able to figure that out. The last thing I would mention as like a challenge that we still haven't figured out, but we're working through, is seeding the market of consumers that we're serving around this new consumer behavior, which we're encouraging them to adopt.
Okay.
We're not, as Americans, we're not, we don't have experience with like buying things online directly from a farm. So we're having to seed the market with this new consumer behavior, which has proven to be a bit challenging.
Okay.
And the last thing I'd mention on that is, similar to Pinduoduo, we're trying to introduce this idea of team buying dynamics, right? Social commerce. How can we incentivize customers to band together and buy things in unison for a discount? Well, this concept has taken off and has been tremendously successful in Asia, but it's not something that's really been seen in the US before. And so we're having to introduce and seed the market with this entirely new consumer behavior, and that's proven to be a big challenge.
Okay, that's great. Henry, what's your team size? You run an online business, so what's your team size? Particularly, do you have a size, team members in your team?
Sure.
Yeah.
So right now our team is quite small. There's just 3 of us.
Okay.
But we have, partners outside of our team that we work very close with. Obviously, Webkul being one of them. We have a social media manager being one of them. We have a PR representative being one of them. And then we have a, legal counsel. So it's sort of this nucleus of 3 people, myself, like a product lead, and then an operations lead. Then we've got, layers outside of that of, dev, marketing, and legal.
Okay, that's great. Okay, this is all about you. Can you please elaborate how Webkul assist you? How Webkul help you out by establishing your business?
Yeah, I mean, what I've really liked about Webkul is they've really given rise to a lot of my crazy ideas. I come to the meetings with these really elaborate product ideas that I spend hours and hours sort of ideating on Figma, and I make all of these notes as to the product features, and I bring them to Webkul, and Webkul has this ability to just talk through all of the features and all of my vision and manifest them into a working product, and I've really appreciated that. We've built my platform through a lot of existing plugins that Webkul has, and I love the ability to actually take sort of these building blocks that Webkul has established and then customize them to fit our needs. So it's really accelerated, I think, the development process, because our Farmshare is completely unique and different than anything that's been done before. But there's elements and there's building blocks of our business that exist today, and Webkul has built a lot of that out already. And so it's really helped us to speed up our development cycle, because we're not building from scratch. We're able to, my Webkul partners are able to say, okay, I see your vision. This is great. Let me go look at these 5 plugins that we have. I'll talk with, the dev team, understand what our capabilities are to, augment these to your vision, and then we do it. So that's been, really helpful. And aside from just like the e-commerce build, Webkul's also helped with a lot of the cloud services for our business, and also helped us with some integrations with some third-party vendors that we're working with. We do, we ingest a few APIs from various tech partners that we're working with, and Webkul has been very supportive in, providing those integrations.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. This is a huge compliment for Webkul. I want to know any future plans or thoughts you would like to share with us?
Sure. I mean, listen, I really believe and have so much conviction in the opportunity at hand for Farmshare. There's no doubt in my mind that there is a market for what we are building. I have the utmost confidence in the opportunity, but it's going to be a big challenge. And as we're going to market for the first time here, we're realizing that, some of our initial assumptions may have not been correct in terms of the way that we've designed elements of our platform. And we're going to have to do, iteration after iteration after iteration to find that product market fit. And so I'm really excited to continue to partner with Webkul to, just continue to accelerate that flywheel, right? Yeah. Of putting something out there, seeing how it does, learning from it, and then iterating on it and trying something new. Yeah. And it's this constant, build, measure, learn, sort of cycle that we need to go through. And so again, I'm really excited to continue that work with Webkul. We're at a point right now where we're still a very young team. We're sort of in our embryonic phase. Okay. But we have a lot of opportunity, and we're for the first time going to market, and we're for the first time starting to talk with investors. So fundraising, raising our first round is on the horizon for us, and we're very excited for that, and what sort of growth prospects that will avail us. So yeah, very, very excited for what the future has in store for Farmshare.
That's great, Henry. Thank you so much for your valuable time. I really like to talk to you like this. You are doing a great thing at your position, at your job. I really like the concept of your business, from Farmshare for all the farmers and all. So it's a great talking to you. Thank you so much for your valuable time.
Thank you, Monica, and thank you to the Webkul team. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Henry, for your time. Bye-bye.
Bye.